What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation Show. This is web series we're talking about all things matter in the world of Marvel films. This is episode number 123. In this episode, I'm going to give you a little bit of a review on that Doctor Strange exclusive IMAX 3D sneak peek. What I got treated to yesterday was a 15-minute first look at Doctor Strange in IMAX 3D. And what it essentially was an extended trailer. Now, we also got treated to this awesome poster, Expand Your Mind, October 10th, an IMAX 3D exclusive look. October 10th, yesterday, was when they presented this exclusive screening, and it was a promotion with IMAX and Marvel, where you would get invited if you were subscribed to the newsletter from IMAX. And I have been for a while, so I got the invitation, I signed up, and then I showed up there yesterday, got the poster, and what I got treated to was something pretty freaking amazing. And I'm going to talk about that. Now, this of course will come with a little bit of minor spoilers. Now, I'll just tell you from my opinion, they're not spoilers, but some people might not want to know about all this stuff. So what I'm about to talk about is, could be considered spoilerish. So if you don't want to know anything about Doctor Strange, then stop watching this right now. But if you want to know my thoughts about it, continue watching. So, this footage was, first of all, introduced to us by Benedict Cumberbatch, and like I said before, it's an IMAX 3D exclusive engagement, so they were really emphasizing on the IMAX 3D scenes. Now, this film is not presented entirely in IMAX 3D. It is in 3D, but not all of it has IMAX footage. The IMAX footage, I think, makes up at least half of the film. I think. I'm not exactly sure, but I know it makes up a huge portion of it, especially when they're doing the action sequences and also the scenes where they're in the multiverse. Because you will see that the black bars expand, the widescreen bars expand once we get to those sequences. And that's what Benedict Cumberbatch talked about in his introduction. And the introduction, he says, thank you for coming to this exclusive engagement. And then he uses his hands, and then he goes, whoa. And then he makes those black bars disappear. So it's no longer in widescreen, it is in full screen, IMAX full screen. So he's just trying to emphasize that the aspect ratio does change for specific sequences, and that's why you should watch it in IMAX 3D where available. So anyways, this 50 minutes of footage comes with footage that I wouldn't say is spoilerish, but what it is a sizzle reel or a highlight reel. It shows us highlights of the film, but it doesn't spoil anything by showing us complete sequences. At the beginning of the footage, we get to see an introduction to Doctor Strange. We get to see Rachel McAdams' character, and we learn that Doctor Strange is a neurosurgeon. So that's pretty cool. You know, it was, I guess, a bit of introduction to the character. And then after that, we get treated to the sequence where he gets into the car crash, and that's how he becomes disabled. And then after that, we get treated to this sequence where we see Doctor Strange looking for a way to fix his hands and his body. And then he doesn't believe in spiritual stuff, which the Ancient One was telling him about. But then, of course, she convinces him when she smacks his chest, and then suddenly his soul comes out of his body, and then like, what the hell? And then from that point on, it is nothing but highlight reel footage. It's just all pure action afterwards. And it's action in the sense that it is just a visual sensory overload. There's sequences where we enter into the multiverse. That's what they're calling it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's this multi-dimensional, interdimensional realms that Doctor Strange travels into, or his mind goes into these places, right? And what I gotta tell you about what I saw is that it was absolutely mind-blowing. Like, freaking mind-blowing. It's just sensory overload. It's just, like, wow. Like, what they showed us in those sequences in the multiverse is some footage that I'll say that almost redefines the comic book genre. It really takes us into a completely new realm in the comic book movie genre. I almost would say that they redefine the genre. We're so used to seeing superhero action, right? but this is something that is out of this world, no pun intended. And once we get to see those sequences in IMAX 3D, I think you're going to feel like this is something very, very special. So that's one of the things that really, really blew my mind. Another thing that I'd like to talk about is the amount of humor in this film. There's a lot of humor in the dialogue exchanges. There's just a lot of humor to the point where I feel like it's almost like the Avengers. When we saw Iron Man, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor, we were introduced to these superheroes, but then it's a film that came with a little bit of humor. It's appropriate. It just works. And then we got introduced to The Avengers, directed by Joss Whedon, and then I was just surprised at how much humor there was in that movie. Same with Age of Ultron. There's just a lot of humor. I think that Doctor Strange is in that realm of humor. There's just a lot of humor in this movie, and I find that based on what I've seen so far in this 15-minute preview, is that the humor works. The humor works because it's an extension of the character in that particular situation. He doesn't believe everything that's going on around him, so of course he's going to have to say something quite humorous to crack a joke or something like that. And I find that it works, and also I think that we're going to see a lot of it. I think we're going to see a lot of it, and I like it. Humor, of course, in movie, when done really, really well, makes me laugh. And if I laugh a lot, I have a good time. So I think I'm really, really going to like this film, especially from the innovative of the storytelling, the innovation of the storytelling, the humor, and of course the big badass action sequences, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. A lot of people are thinking that maybe too much humor is no good, but I personally like the humor. This film is not going to be anywhere near as serious as Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. I just don't think it's going to be that serious in tone. I think it's going to be a lot more fun. Which leads me to talk about the action that I saw in Doctor Strange. In this 15-minute sneak peek. Wow. The action is just, like, really, really cool. First of all, there's the mystical martial arts. The mystical martial arts, based on what I've seen, is just really cool. It's not just fighting, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's mystical martial arts, and it looks cool. And by cool, I mean, like, it looks slick. It doesn't look like a dance. It doesn't look aggressive. It just looks like these guys know what they're doing, and they're incorporating magic with their fighting, and it looks so cool. I don't know how to describe it. Once you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Another thing that's really, really awesome is this giant sequence. It's a chase sequence. It involves this Inception-style environments. And by that, I mean cities going sideways, going upside down, and it's a chase sequence, and it just looks ridiculous. And by ridiculous, I mean it's a good thing, because I've never seen anything like that. And when it encompasses your entire peripheral vision in that IMAX 3D premium-sized giant screen in 3D, it feels immersive. It feels like just an overload on just visuals. It looks amazing. Like, really, really amazing. And that's some really great looking 3D. I might even say that what I've seen was just the best 3D I've ever seen. Like, seriously. I say that all the time, but I mean it for this film. Because what they've done was really bring you into the movie. And, man, it was... wow. It was really, really amazing what I saw. As soon as I came out of the theater, I was feeling that they really redefined superhero action with what we've just seen. And once we see it, I think that a lot of people will agree with me. We've seen the same type of action in the past. Like, we've seen, superheroes that are really strong fighting each other, brawling and flying all over the place. And we've seen that again and again and again. But we're about to get treated to something entirely different. And that is why I believe that IMAX and Marvel decided that they needed to put out this 15-minute sneak peek. Captain America and Iron Man are characters that we're not going to see for a while. The main team is pretty much gone. We are going to see them again in Thor Ragnarok and later Avengers Infinity War, but Phase 3 is a time for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to introduce all new characters, one of which is Doctor Strange, followed by Captain Marvel and Black Panther. But right now, the first one is Doctor Strange, and you know, there are a lot of fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they're not comic book movie fans, so they won't know who Doctor Strange is. But with this 50-minute sneak peek, it allows these these casual moviegoers, these casual fans, to see that this is a film that is connected directly with Captain America Civil War. After all, there are some direct references to the events of Captain America Civil War based on the dialogue that I've seen in this 15-minute sneak peek. There are references to it, and some of the references are very, very direct. So that is really, really cool. And anyways, that's all I got to say in this video. I don't want to say any more than that. It was only 15 minutes. There's not much more to talk about other than the fact that I was insanely impressed. But I'm telling you, I'm buying my tickets as soon as they're available and in IMAX 3D, and I already have a feeling that I'm going to watch this movie again. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that it's gotten you pumped for Doctor Strange, because I think this is going to be an outstanding film, and I think it's a film that's going to be very, very special. That's all I got to say in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. All fictional. They're meant for entertainment, and they're summer popcorn films. But this is something very, very different. And the fact that it's a true story makes this